Hello, folks. Welcome to Business Spotlight. As a business owner, are you on top of your numbers and as on top of them as you should be? Are you clear about your goals and where you're going? Have you even considered what your exit's going to be? My guest today is Julie Wilkinson, the founder of Wilkinson Accountants, who is very, very strong at helping businesses understand their numbers and get their exit. Julie, it's great to see you. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Oh, thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Thanks for coming on. Let's dive straight in, Julie. Why don't you start by telling me a little bit about the journey in terms of how you came to start your business?
Yes, so I'm a chartered management accountant by trade. I've worked in finance for over 20 years and I came from corporate, not a practice background. I suppose to cut a long story short, the reason I started Wilkinson Accounting is because I had some involvement in some smaller businesses in a larger acquisition within my corporate job. And I found that there was a real gap in SMEs where they were still only seeing their accounts once a year. I did a survey and asked 100 and asked 20 businesses what their accountants did, and 100% only saw their accounts once a year. Yeah. So I knew there was like a massive skills gap in sort of not necessarily bookkeeping and tax returns, but more, I suppose, the consultancy piece around growth strategies and how to use numbers. So that's basically how Wilkinson started.
I can confirm that. So many businesses that I talk to will tell me, I'll ask them about the health of their business, and they'll replay to me accounts that were given to them by their accountant maybe 12 months ago and are so far out of date they're not staying on top of their numbers. Right. Let's talk a little bit about you though, and your journey and starting your business. What were some of the biggest challenges that you faced when you got started, and how did you overcome them?
Well, I mean, the biggest one was that I started just before COVID. I mean, I actually set it up in July 19, but I didn't actually leave sort of work until Jan 20. So obviously COVID came along in March. But I just thought, well, I've done it now. And I suppose the biggest challenge I had at that time was I didn't actually have any social presence online, which was a little bit of an issue. So that year I spent about £15,000 on sort of personal development training, sales coaching, sort of on social media training, and really just to try and pick myself up and get myself online and out there.
Well, look, you've been a fantastic success story. And I know that you've built a great customer base. You've got a significant organization now. You're acquiring other businesses. You're placing multiple CFOs into lots of your clients now. How did you go about building that strong customer base and establishing your brand in what is quite a competitive industry?
One thing I did right at the beginning is I was quite clear that I didn't actually grow too quick. So I didn't become like a traditional accountant where I took hundreds of clients straight away, because I just knew that I didn't want to be sitting there every January for 50 hours a week, a day, processing returns. So I was quite clear to do a relatively slow growth strategy on the accounts to give myself time to sort of learn, build the infrastructure. I suppose the client base has come from me being really clear on what I want to work on. I did get told over the industry that no one could sell management accounts. I did get told that I wouldn't be as successful as a man in the industry, because I don't think there is any. I've never met another woman that actually runs an accounting practice in this industry. And I think I just decided that I had to keep my marketing clear and focus on my consultancies services, and I think that's working now, because obviously at this point we've got a lot of customers. Like I said, we probably work on about 3 to 5 exits or acquisitions a month now in sort of at all stages of the process. So yeah, we're doing something right.
So you've got really clear about your value proposition. Accountancy can have a bit of a reputation as being kind of quite vanilla, and it's all about the management accounts. You've added a lot of value around the consultancy. How do you foster that culture of innovation and creativity within your company?
I actually have a bit of an angel investor, so I've got some investments in some high tech companies, so we're quite tech savvy. I suppose, one of the things is we're fully virtual, so we don't have offices. That's already quite innovative, I suppose, in the industry, and we're fully online, so we don't print anything. So we've got a bit of a sustainability thing that we're trying to build in. We always give our teams, autonomy to sort of look at the systems, and we've got people that are like, pro QuickBooks advisors and things like that. So we know how to utilize the systems effectively.
So how did you arrive at that position? Was there a pivotal moment or a decision that you took that significantly impacted on the growth of the business?
Well, I think there was a few things. I mean, my group CFO was probably my biggest hire. I mean, I've only built the team. I mean, now we've got 9 internal staff. I've actually only built that internal team over the last 18 months because obviously I've only had the business 3 years. So the team started. So the group CFO was the biggest hire for me and probably, I suppose, the bit of the most scariest. It's just gone from there, really. We've grown the team quickly and we've just placed the right people doing the right things. And I suppose we've been a little bit overstaffed, so probably working at a little bit of a lower margin, but knowing we need the people to actually do this growth strategy. So not always firefighting and actually have the people to do these, implement the right project tools so we can manage our products and our timelines and things like that.
You've had some rapid growth, but I'm sure it's not all been a bed of roses, right? How do you handle failure and setbacks, and what lessons have you learned from them?
Yeah, I mean, although I was quite clear on the strategy, I'm not saying I haven't made any mistakes. I definitely have. Well, I think I'm learning as I go along. I mean, I've taken quite a bit of a big personal journey this year. So I do a lot of meditation and manifestation now. So I meditate every day, morning and night. And I definitely find that's helping. I mean, I'm still quite new because I only kind of started this year. So I've only been doing it a few months, but that definitely helps me these days. I suppose in the past, I don't know. I've just had to learn to, think you do take things a little bit personally sometimes. And I've just had to find ways to deal with that and move forward. The one thing I never do is I'd never show that to any of my team or outsiders. I've always managed to sort of keep it, within my circle, because at the end of the day, I suppose ownership ends on me in the end at this point in time.
You touched on meditation there. You're a busy wife. You got dogs in your house as well. You're a very busy business owner. You're also running your own social channels. So you're an extremely busy and capable woman. But how on earth do you maintain work-life balance as an entrepreneur? And what strategies do you use in addition to meditation to avoid burnout?
I would probably say, if I'm really honest, up until this year, I probably did go a bit burnout some of the years. I mean, I think it stemmed a little bit from COVID because I was kind of drawn into a situation where I had to work from home, although I always had a virtual model in mind anyway. But obviously I just started before, then I didn't have anything else to do but work. And I think it was hard to get out of that cycle. And what really did it for me was I actually went away for nearly 4 weeks in January. I went to different places and actually the business did run without me and it was okay. And I think it made me realize that, I probably sometimes force myself to work when I don't actually need to. And I think the meditation has helped me, but it's finding things that I get back in joy. So for instance, we just bought a sailing boat now and we're sold our jet ski, and I do a lot of yoga alongside the meditation and more like things I enjoy. Started to get back into reading and podcasts. Just do things like make sure I switch my phone off at night so I don't get engrossed into work, which has been going quite well. So that type of thing.
So making time for yourself and to do the things that are important for you. You're all about growth. You're all about keeping business owners on track. Can you share some thoughts around effective marketing strategies or growth strategies that have either worked well for you and your business or are working well for your clients?
For me personally, I think sticking to sort of the strategy I want to make sure. So like you, for instance, if a few posts flop and stuff, just keep on going. I suppose for me, what's really done well is obviously I've launched my own podcast this year, the Build and Exit. So that's done really well. I mean, I was actually researching at the weekend and statistically, we're actually in the top 50% of podcasts with our number of downloads. So we've only been going 12 weeks on that. I think I focused myself on an organic strategy from the beginning because I just didn't want to get into a situation where I'm constantly paying for ads. I mean, that's taken a long time. It probably took me a good 18 months really to get a LinkedIn strategy that worked. And then I've kind of built off that strategy and then onto other platforms. So now we're kind of on all socials. So we're on Insta, TikTok, Facebook, LinkedIn, SEO. And I think SEO, I mean, we wasn't on any page for acquisitions exit when we started about 6 months ago. And I think now we're on about page 4.
So let's think a little bit then. You've taken very much a digital approach. What about relationships and networking? What role have they played in the growth of your business?
Yeah, so I am quite a big networker. Like I'm quite a people person. I think I was always quite conscious of my time right from the beginning. I mean, I was never really one to constantly go back to the same networkings all the time. And now I actually probably only do 1 or 2 networkings a month at most. But I suppose I do have, but I build quite a lot of relationships. I don't have to go to network. I suppose I've built a lot of network around sort of LinkedIn, and now we do have a lot of referrers. I suppose either past clients or partners that we work closely with. And, we're very well connected in the industry.
What about staying up to date with industry trends? I know technology is fast moving in your industry and there's lots of platforms. You mentioned QuickBooks earlier. How do you stay up to date with the latest trends around that and, the new technologies that are coming into your marketplace to make sure that you stay competitive?
I always built my business model on that I would never try and have I suppose a sales channel that's more than 25% of my total business. That's always how, that's what we say to clients. And I suppose some of it is technology, but a lot of what we do isn't always technology. It's kind of listening to what the market wants. So like we've started to diversify into operations as an example. So we have a strategy director now. So, because it's one thing as going in and putting the CFO in and build the forecast, but then we always saw a bottleneck was actually people couldn't implement, maybe the director didn't have the right mindset or didn't know how to. And that became a bit of a challenge to us. We walked away from quite a lot of contracts because, we in the end wasn't going anywhere. So we realized, well, rather than always doing that, why not try and develop something that can add a different a different layer to the services we can offer. And that's, so we have sort of now diversified out of accounting and consultancy and into sort of strategy and operations as well. We diversify a lot. Obviously technology is one, and we spoke about it, but it isn't only technology. I think it's just, looking at market needs. Like another thing we do that's quite unique, I think, is we help recruit, train and onboard finance teams as well for like growing business, growing groups and growing businesses.
You're in the advice business, Julie. If you had to give one piece of advice to existing business owners or aspiring entrepreneurs, what would that be?
One thing I've definitely learned from my acquisition journey is I would never grow something organically again. I would always buy it. And I suppose, I know it's a bit scary when you first go in, but I think a lot of people think acquisitions is like really big and it's a really scary thing. But actually, it doesn't have to be. If you have the right support around you and you have got the right cash to invest in it, it is a good way. Because, I remember doing a podcast with someone else and I said some people get a bit I think they feel a bit touchy about the fact that they've grown it organically and they like to feel they've achieved something. But I'm like, yeah, but at the end of the day, when you're on your deathbed and you give me your grandkids your inheritance, what are they going to do? Sit there and say to you, oh, you're not worthy of that because you bought the business. I mean, you still have to be an entrepreneur to like run an acquisition after you buy it. So that's the one thing I've learned, and probably just like do it as soon as you're ready. I mean, I had never really thought about running businesses historically. As soon as I sort of came up with the idea, I just did it. But I suppose before that, I never really thought about wealth generation. I just worked in a job and got a good salary. So it's really opened my mind up to how, using techniques and things, you can actually make a lot more money than just in a job.
And so many people kind of wait, don't they, until they think they've got enough experience. But actually, the best thing you can do is what you did, which was just to jump in and do it. There's never a right time.
No, there isn't. And obviously you can worry and things might go wrong, but at the end of the day, that's just life, isn't it? As long as you've got a good contingency plan, and now that's why I meditate and manifest, because it helps me.
Julie, it's been fantastic to have you on. You've been a great guest. It's great to see you. Thank you so much.
No, thanks for having me.
Folks, if you'd like to come on to Business Spotlight and share your story like Julie has just done, we'd love to hear from you. So just comment down below and comment apply. We'll get in contact and we'll fix up your interview. We can't wait to hear from you. Until next time, bye for now.